Good evening and welcome to the second edition of the 62 Who Knew TV show here on WeBeamTV.com. And before I start with a synopsis of today's show, which is the way I'm going to start every show, I just have to thank my first two guests from last week that made our first show not only fun, not only a lot better experience than I thought, but we attracted hundreds and hundreds of viewers, a very pleasant surprise for me as our first show started. So a special, special thank you to Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy and Mark Goldberg, both of which will be back on the show within 30 days because their two topics obviously piqued a lot of interest. So for a synopsis of today's show, we'd like to tell you that we have two incredible guests. Our first guest is Miss Ann Rogers, who is a certified senior relocation and transition specialist. To me, it's kind of staggering when people are moving from a house that they've possibly been in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and that could be a smaller house that they're moving into, or it could even be a living facility that they're moving into. But it's not just the sale of their home. There are so many other factors involved. And in fact, I went to meet Ann almost 6 weeks ago to talk about doing mortgage business with her, because that's my other life as a mortgage person. Had no really intention or plan of inviting her to be on the show. And when she told me the business that she created, the model that she had created, it fit in so well to 62 Who Knew that I couldn't wait to have her on the show. That's our first guest. Our second guest tonight is Mr. David Cribbs, a man that I have known for quite some time now, who recognized a niche in the real estate industry and has created a national following, a network. And Mr. Cribbs, David, actually connects real estate agents and consumers with custom builders. Today, many people don't realize that 89% of the people that buy homes in this country, 89% do it through real estate agents who then sell them a home through the multiple listing service, MLS. That's the way it's been for decades and decades, and that's a great model. And David recognized a niche of being able to bring people directly to a custom builder. So when someone is building that house around the age of 62, instead of having a beautiful house that someone else built to their specifications, they're now building houses to their specifications and having their dream retirement home. And again, David's model just fit in with the 62 Who Knew principles so well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our first guests as we go to a different angle so I can introduce you to our first guest. And there she is, Miss Ann Rogers. Ann, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. You are our third guest. I'll probably stop counting eventually, sort of like McDonald's. I'm not going to do 8 billion served. I'll stop counting exactly, but so excited to have you as our third guest on our second show. And as I said, when we met, it was in our regular real estate mortgage mode, and we were going to try and convince you, or I was going to try and convince you that I was the best mortgage person in the world, and that's why you should send me mortgage business. And when you told me what you were doing for seniors, I just thought, oh my, it's almost like we were made for each other. That is the 62 Who Knew principle. And as I said in the waiting room when we were talking before, I've learned more from you in our few meetings in the last few weeks about that transition of taking people from a larger house to a smaller house, or any house to a living facility. There's just so much for them to do. And unlike many real estate agents, no disrespect to anybody, you take it all on, you do it all. So please tell us a little bit about how you came to this and those services that you offer.
Okay, thank you. First, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic.
So what happened was I started helping people my age with their parents.
30s, people in their 30s.
Yeah, right, very young people. And their parents were in their 90s. And they had already convinced them they needed a little more assistance in them living at home. So they were already in a assisted living facility or adult living community. And so what I did was I went in and just took charge, and I said, okay, how can I help you? And they said, well, what do we do with all this stuff?
It's a lot of stuff.
I said, well, let's work on that. So the family came in and took the items that they wanted, and then we we were left with the rest of the stuff. And so it needed to be packed up, and it needed to be either given away or sold, or the different circumstances that depends on what actual the needs are of the family or the friends that are helping this person. And I added up the hours after we finished and found out it was a 60-hour project.
I can imagine.
So I had to sort of step back and say, wait a minute, this is a different thing. This is not selling houses. This is a different thing. And so I started a new business called Ann Rogers Relocation Resources, and sort of gathered up all the needs between the time somebody says, I'm leaving my house I've been in for 30 or 40 years, and it's time for me to move on, to actually getting the house ready for sale. There's a big list of things that need to be done.
Yeah.
So I thought somebody needs to organize this and really find out what the seller and their family wants to do. And so I spend a lot of time listening.
That's incredible, because I know I just moved, and I moved less than 3 miles. And I wasn't in my previous house for 20, 30, or 40 years. I was there for almost 7. And the stuff that we had accumulated was incredible, and yet I threw away half of it, which is sad. And of course, I still have stuff from when the kids were 2 years old that I refused to throw away. But to me, again, when we met, I just couldn't believe, if I was in a house for 30 years, what there would be in that garage. And I would assume most seniors, let's talk for a second about not going to a living facility, but they're downsizing, or I try and use the term right sizing, because sometimes it's a house I have found that's equal in size, but a bigger backyard, a better kitchen.
Or no stairs.
Or no stairs. So I tend to say right sizing, but let's say they are changing and they're downsizing or right sizing. What are the options? Okay, the family looks and says, okay, I want this stuff, Mom and Dad. They say, okay, I want this stuff. Now you have this house of stuff. What part of your transition, describe your transition team, I guess, to me, is what I'm asking.
Well, on the front end of it, we have to figure out what's going to go to the new house.
Okay.
So we identify the things that are going to go to the new house. We measure it. We make sure it'll fit in the new house. We help set it up in the new house. So that's a component part of it all. And then the other thing is we have to get the rest of the stuff that isn't going to the new house.
Where does that go?
It depends. It depends on what they want to do. So if there's enough, maybe there's some collectibles or some art or some antiques that have some real value that maybe we need to have it appraised. So we start with that, if that's appropriate. And then we look around and say, okay, what else is left? And perhaps an estate sale is appropriate. So we can do that. A lot of people don't know what a true estate sale, everything in the house has to be sold at the estate sale. You can't say everything in that corner is not for sale.
Right.
You sell everything that's in the house.
It's not a glorified garage sale.
No, it's not.
Don't touch that.
No, it's really not. So it has to be properly treated. And then, of course, most time the estate sale provides some funds back to the family or the person whose belongings there are, if it's an appropriate amount. And then we still have, oftentimes there's stuff left over, and that has to be boxed and given away to my favorite charity is the Salvation Army. They're a very good organization, and so we orchestrate all of that. And of course, there's the physical moving, the getting the mover and hiring the mover and scheduling the mover and being there when the movers arrive, and then meeting the movers on the other end. Yeah,
that's a hectic and stressful day.
Yes, it is.
So you actually deal with, let's say there is antiques and the children don't want it and the parents don't want it. You deal with antique people. You deal with appraisers that will tell them what it's worth, and yeah, that's to me that's an incredible group of services. So now we have people moving into that smaller home. The furniture doesn't fit. I've actually been guilty of having a couch or two delivered over the last 20, 30 years and have the movie man go, where you want to put this? All right, take it back. Let's talk a little bit, because we're coming close to our first, we're only 1 minute away from our first break. Touch lightly on when they are moving to a facility. Because in some ways, I think that's a double-edged blessing. Somebody has made the decision, whether them or a caretaker, a son or a daughter, or someone who loves them, I hope, has made help make them decision that it is not safe. Because to me, that's what it's about, safety.
Right.
I'm a little biased when it comes to people going into a facility. I think if they're safe in their present home, they should stay there. Because as I mentioned a few times in the first show, and to me, every study in the world says people live longer at home. Right. So I think people should go into a facility for safety when they need to for medical reasons. But that's got to be a much more emotional, there has to be a lot more questions to ask. I mean, my God, the financial questions alone. So in this next segment, and if you can, I think we're still at about 30 seconds, touch a little on 30 seconds. I'm getting good at this, aren't I, John? I touch a little in this last 26 seconds on what we're going to talk about in the next segment, because to me that's very emotional for the family.
It is. And as a matter of fact, that's the first thing I do. And this happened just the other day. I met with someone my age and her mother, who had been actually lived in Puerto Rico and went through Irma there and had been really through a rough time. And her daughter was trying to help her make decisions. And so we chatted for a minute, and I said, at some point I'd like to sit down without your daughter, as I'm looking at the daughter face to face and saying, just to get to know you better.
Hold that one thought. We're going right to break, but I want to continue this conversation. Hi, my name is Mike Banner, and in addition to being the host of the 62 Who Knew television show, I am also the president of Professional Mortgage Alliance, where our passion is helping seniors entering retirement purchase their dream retirement home without the obligation of a monthly principal and interest payment. Please call me at 727-224-3859 or visit my website at professionalmortgagealliance.com.
My name is Ann Rogers, and I'm a real estate agent and broker in Pinellas County and have been for over 24 years. Ann Rogers Relocation Resources provides a full array of services to help you or your loved one transition gracefully to a new residence or adult living community. Our first consultation is free and with no obligation. Please visit our website or call to talk to me directly.
Hi, my name is Joe Stalteri. I'm one of the owners of Complete Care Systems. At Complete Care Systems, we do carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile and grout sealing, wood floor and laminate floor deep cleaning, as well as stripping and waxing of linoleum and vinyl floors, and a whole lot more. We also run daily deals and special, which you can find at CompleteCareSystems.com, or simply call Tricia up at 727-364-5158, and she'll answer all your questions and give you over the phone free estimates. Or she'll send me out to your home or office to give you an on-site free estimate. At Complete Care Systems, we don't cut corners, we clean them.
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Kennedy, your real estate expert here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I spent years developing myself, studying the industry so I can serve you and communicate with you the best way possible in your real estate transaction. My phone number is 941-807-2054, or please visit my website at lisamariekennedy.com.
Welcome back. Ann, you were just in the process of a story that we carried on a little off air, and we shouldn't have, so now we have to go backwards because it kind of amazes me, with a woman from Puerto Rico who had lived through the hurricane, and with her daughter, and you asked the daughter to leave the room.
If we can have a conversation.
Yeah, pick it up right there when you said you asked the daughter to leave the room.
So I asked the mother actually if it would be okay if I asked the daughter to leave the room.
Yeah.
And she was kind of nonplussed. She didn't quite know what to say. You know? So, but the daughter immediately stood up and said, "I'm going to let y'all talk." And we were actually at a coffee shop, and so she went to another table, and the mom and I sat there and talked for, I'd say, 45 minutes.
Really?
And it was a wonderful conversation, and we got to develop a relationship very quickly as a result. And then the daughter came back, and we talked for a few more minutes, and now we're all fine. You know, nobody's trying to do anything to anybody. We're just trying to be help. How can I help? And so it's gone very smoothly since then, and that's really helpful when I have that opportunity.
That's something I wouldn't have thought of, but it is really important. Again, one of the other things that we said on the break, this is mom's house. This is mom's stuff.
Right.
So for mom, is it just a mom in this particular case? Okay. But for mom, or when it is mom and dad, you know, I would assume, I don't know if you've had any conversations like this, but I assume if you had, or there will one day, you know, there's 3 children, and I really want this daughter to have that piano, and this daughter to have my collectibles, and well, that daughter I never liked, so I don't really care what she gets. But whatever the conversation may be, they can't possibly say that with them in the room.
Right.
So yeah, to me, doing that, getting her alone, because it's all up to mom. It's their stuff.
Right. I do try to not quite get to that level and try to direct them back to, I'm happy to be in the room for the conversation. But that's a pretty intimate discussion about individual items. In terms of the process, though, it's great if we're all there. Or at least the family's on the phone. Because what I try and do is give them the process of how we can make this happen in a fair and equitable way. So there were 7 of us in my family, and when we downsized, my mom, we did a notebook, and we took pictures of every item.
Really?
And we had it all appraised, and then we drew straws, and
Really?
we had a budget.
You were so civil.
And we all went around, and there was a little horse trading after it was all over.
Really?
Saying, you know, I'd really rather have that table. Would you mind?
But it was all happy, friendly, and hugs and
yes,
kisses?
Very much so.
You have a great family.
And and I got the model actually from a friend of mine, and who had done it with her 7 kids. We were neighbors down the street from each other, and I called her up and said, "Oh my God, what do we do?" And so she gave me the idea, and we did it exactly the same way, and it just smoothed out everything. You know,
Really?
It was like there was just a process, and people don't mind following a process. It's non-emotional.
Yeah,
you know?
If you give them that process.
If you give them the process.
That is amazing to me.
That's exactly right. So it's that structure, and that structure through the whole thing, from where am I going to live to you know, how do I get rid of all this stuff, to do I do anything to the house before we put it on the market? You know, all of those major steps. If you have a process for it, it makes it so much easier. Takes the emotion out of it.
We're going to end, not now, we still have good time left. I want to end with asking you what you charge for this extra process. I know you already said your first consultation is free.
Right.
But before we get to that, you mentioned something on the break that I did not know. When somebody is transitioning to a living facility, I wish I could say I'm an expert at this. I'm not. But I have some expertise because we had to look at it for certain people in our family. And they range from $3,000 a month to an average in Florida of almost $7,500 a month and up to $12,000 a month. Now, this is there's no other word other than daunting type of experience, not for just the elderly person, but the out-of-state children. This is nothing short of daunting. And I did not know till our last break that you actually have, I wrote it down so I said it right, a facility placement person that actually looks into this for them and shows them the quality of each one and the pricing. To me, more than anything, more than selling the house, more than getting rid of the junk, more than picking out the favorite child that the family jewels go to. To me, that is something that takes so much pressure off someone. So tell me about that process. Is this an educated, I mean, who is this I don't mean what is his name? Right. Who is this person that makes him a facility placement person? What does he do? So what is his background?
This is what they do for a living. They place people. And so they get familiar with all of the facilities on every level. I just learned recently that you can actually have a rental. There's a rental retirement.
I never knew that.
So there's all kinds of financial, just like your reverse mortgages. There's all kinds of ways.
I like now it's my reverse mortgage. It's not yours, HUD. You don't own it anymore. It's mine. Okay.
But the way you explained it and what a beneficial program that can be for people, and people just don't realize there are lots of options. And so I have a friend that calls herself the insurance lady, and I'd like to call myself the relocation lady, because really that's what I'm trying to do, is to help people understand there's so many possibilities, but they don't have to see every possibility.
No, they don't.
They have to see the possibilities that will work for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's really the point.
In fact, I think it's the same thing with the sale of a house, or, you know what, almost anything.
Anything.
When you get past a certain amount of possibilities that are good for you and you start looking at everything, it actually becomes frustrating, and I think you make the wrong decision. I think it's like when you go into a restaurant that has literally a menu with 300 things on it.
Exactly.
Every page is, no, I want that, I want that. But it's the same thing with a professional real estate agent that shows 32 houses and is confused. That always amazes me, why their client hasn't pulled the trigger. Why don't you just show them the 6 or the 4 that they like the best? That fits. And when it comes, again, to searching to nursing homes, I shouldn't call them nursing homes. That's an
adult living communities.
Adult living communities. I'm sorry, I showed my age there. Yeah, I think showing them too many is daunting and depressing, because there are a few out there. I'm not going to mention names. I don't even know the names. Quite, that you don't want your mom and dad in. So the fact that that's part of your transition is, to me, is incredible. So now tell us a little bit about the service itself, what you charge, the amount of hours you do, and again, I know your first consultation is free, how they get a hold of you for this. Take us, somebody, in fact, make a mental note. I'd like to have your facility placement person as a guest on the show.
Okay.
Oh my God, what a great, maybe you'll come back with him on your second thing.
That'd be great.
It is a him? I don't mean.
Well, I have several choices because they get busy.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I always like to make sure I have plenty of
So this is not a small niche, this is a thing.
No, this is the thing.
You see, that's, I love learning about stuff like this.
Yes,
but we
it's a
want to
pretty
bring
big
your,
thing.
you know, a couple of your people back on.
Okay.
Tell us what happens. There's somebody listening right now, whether they're in Florida getting ready to transition, or quite frankly, there's somebody listening in New York, New Jersey, Texas, and they're going, wow, this is what my mom and dad need. What's their steps to contact you?
They can call me directly. I always appreciate that. My number is 727-458-7660, and I do text, so that's certainly a possibility. Or my email is very easy, ann@annrogers.com.
Okay.
So would love for have them contact me that way. And what I do is I have a very long conversation. It's the first conversation is at least an hour. Oftentimes could be 2 hours. Because what I'm trying to figure out is not just what the family thinks the parent needs, but it's what the parent thinks that they need.
Yeah, which is really more important, quite frankly.
Well, it is, but you have to sort of marry the two somehow, because oftentimes they need more help than they're willing to accept.
Yes.
And so that's an easy conversation for me to have, because I can see it.
Yes.
And I'm an objective third party, so I can explain it in a way that I'm just observing and saying, let me just share with you what I see, if I may. And oftentimes I like to do that without the family in the room.
Right. They get back to that building that rapport again.
It allows them to say things that they'd like to get off their chest that are frustrating about the whole process, or maybe upsetting about the whole process, that I can then go back to the family and say, we need to resolve this issue, this whatever the one issue is that's really upsetting the parent the most, and just have let's figure out some options that would meet both parties, and then let me go back and present that with you all there.
Right.
But let me just facilitate the conversation. I'm not making any of the decisions. I'm just facilitating the conversation.
You know, human psychology, it's just amazing, because I'm sure there are times that you'll say something to the parents that the children have said. The parents don't want to take that same advice from the children, but a third-party observer says it. And they go, wow, that makes sense. I mean, it's very similar, I think, to bringing up children.
Exactly.
How many times do you say something to your child and they go, come on, Mom, come on, Dad, give me a break. and then their teacher says it, and suddenly it's a gem of brilliance. Like, I've been saying that for 3 years.
It's exactly the same thing.
We have a little less than 3 minutes left, so I want to ask, well, first I want to get your information out. Your first consultation is free, and that could be an hour or more.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to put your website up on the screen right now, so they'll have a way to contact you. How much, if they did say yes, how much do you charge? I already know the number. I think it should be more, because I think what you're doing for people far outweighs a numeric value. As I said, there's no other word to me other than daunting of being able to do this. What do you charge?
So I charge $250, and that's for orchestrating it all. So the component parts are charged by the person who actually does it.
Right.
So we get estimates from a variety of people that are on the team. And people that I've worked with and people that I have good faith and confidence that they can do the job we're recommending that they do. Usually people that have been doing it for quite some time. And then we get estimates from them for the service. They only use the services that they want to use.
Of course.
And so they'll pick and choose, a concierge kind of thing. They just pick and choose the services, and they get estimate. I'll get all the estimates and lay it all out for them and say, here's the plan. We can do the whole plan, or we can just do parts of the plan, but all of the plan needs to be done. So the question is, if we're not going to use somebody on my team, who's going to do it?
That's right.
So we try and figure
30 seconds.
that out. And sometimes there's a family member close by that will say, oh no, I'll take care of that. And that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. My job is to orchestrate it.
Well, thank you so much for being our third guest. Like our two guests last week, Ann is going to be on again because I find this to be an incredible topic. We only have a few seconds left. I want to thank Ann. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Mr. Cribbs for our second segment, and I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy what he has to say. And just as I realized we need a facility placement person on here and a guest, for all of you that are watching, if you feel you fit into the 62 Who Knew mold, that you can help people getting ready for retirement or already in retirement have a better life, please contact me through our website. I would love to have you as a guest. Hi, my name is Mike Banner, and in addition to being the host of the 62 Who Knew television show, I am also the president of Professional Mortgage Alliance, where our passion is helping seniors entering retirement purchase their dream retirement home without the obligation of a monthly principal and interest payment. Please call me at 727-224-3859 or visit my website at professionalmortgagealliance.com.
My name is Ann Rogers, and I'm a real estate agent and broker in Pinellas County and have been for over 24 years. Ann Rogers Relocation Resources provides a full array of services to help you or your loved one transition gracefully to a new residence or adult living community. Our first consultation is free and with no obligation. Please visit our website or call to talk to me directly.
Hi, my name is Joe Stalteri. I'm one of the owners of Complete Care Systems. At Complete Care Systems, we do carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile and grout sealing, wood floor and laminate floor deep cleaning, as well as stripping and waxing of linoleum and vinyl floors, and a whole lot more. We also run daily deals and special, which you can find at CompleteCareSystems.com, or simply call Tricia up at 727-364-5158, and she'll answer all your questions and give you over the phone free estimates. Or she'll send me out to your home or office to give you an on-site free estimate. At Complete Care Systems, we don't cut corners, we clean them.
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Kennedy, your real estate expert here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I spent years developing myself, studying the industry so I can serve you and communicate with you the best way possible in your real estate transaction. My phone number is 941-807-2054, or please visit my website at lisamariekennedy.com.
Ways to do it.
We're live, and we're back for the second segment and our fourth guest. Like I said to Ann earlier, I'm going to stop counting guests. Like McDonald's, when we get up to 5 billion. When I get up to my 5 billion, I'll stop serving. I always wondered from McDonald's, what were they trying to prove with that sign? 4 billion served, 5 billion served, 12 billion. What was the proof? Yeah,
everybody comes here. You should come here.
We get the message. People go to McDonald's. You can stop putting up the frickin' number already. All right. Well, I'd like to introduce to you to somebody that I met not so long ago, but close to a year.
Yeah.
We were introduced by a mutual person. He created a television show, an internet television show, Under Contract Live, that he invited me to be a guest on as a reverse mortgage specialist. Here is his site right here that we'd love you to see. As you can see in the middle there, in between the other two hosts, there is a very beautiful picture there of Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy, who was my first guest also. And
she's a rock star.
She is a rock star, isn't she? But you really have come up with a niche. You know, again, in my, I hate to say this, 36 years in the mortgage business, you go to a real estate agent, which I just love real estate agents. 3 of my first 4 guests have been real estate agents. They're just great to me for the last 36 years. But of course, their first choice has always been to sell one of their own listings.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that. Second choice, go into the MLS, get that sale. And then if I can't find you something, I guess I'll take you to a builder. Because in the old days, the builders didn't pay as much. There's a lot of reasons. You have recognized a niche and created really and truly a national network that is making this kind of obsolete. So if you would tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, happy to. So, you know, it's a passion of mine to connect realtors, new home builders, and consumers all together, really, to ultimately create a better experience for the consumer. And although I would love to say that I grew up with that passion, dreaming of how I was going to do that, it was really born out of a necessity in the marketplace, especially here where I'm at geographically, here in Tampa, Florida. We know that Florida is the retirement capital, right?
Right.
And there's been a lot of things. If we go back just a few years, we went through the real estate crash, and we started to rebound, of course. But around that time when we were trying to get the economy back where it should be, our governor, and whether you are a fan of him or not, he ran on a platform of let's get back to work. Let's go back to work. And the whole idea was let's bring industry here. Let's create jobs here. Let's get an influx of people here. And what's occurred is we have like a kind of a collage of different things that has created this big building boom. We've got an influx of people. We've got retirement. We've got attractive taxes here in Florida for people who are retiring and coming to work here. So, it used to be you chose between Florida and California,
right? And
now California is just taxing everybody out of their homes,
even,
right? So,
yeah, how many people can afford to live in California?
Exactly. So we have this huge influx of population in Florida. Well, as a result, of course, builders recognize that. They knew they were coming, right? So, of course, now we have this demand. Where were these people going to live?
Right.
So, it's created a shortage on the resale market.
Absolutely.
But also in that mix, the economy starts bouncing back. Rates are low, home prices start going back up to record numbers, and all of a sudden people who maybe didn't even need to move, now they're moving because they can.
That's right.
They just can, right? Because they're back in an equitable position.
Absolutely.
And so all these new home builders start coming in and, you know, buying land and bringing all these new home options, and it's actually created the market or that niche or that need for me. So, you know, and I love it. I love new construction. I love the opportunity that it presents to realtors and most of all consumers, because at the end of the day, Michael, consumers now have more options. Yeah. They can come and build a home exactly the way they want it in places that they maybe never even dreamed of before, because we were talking before the show about the fact that, you know, these 55 and over communities, the face of those communities have completely changed. Right? It used to be like we said, it looked like barracks, right? The villas that were stacked next to each other that all looked the same, or the condos.
There were villas that are exactly the same.
Or the mobile home park, and there's nothing wrong with those. It's just that it seems dated, you know? So now these builders are coming in and they're like, okay, we know these people are coming. We know we've got an influx. We know we've got 55 and over. Why don't we create an amazing community with amazing amenities, with modern homes, and actually build houses that work for seniors and create these active communities? And they're all over the place now, and it's just creating these amazing options. So that's really in the long answer to why.
No, it's a perfect answer. No, giving consumers at any age more options is a fantastic thing. There's no way to get around it. But again, our passion here on 62 Who Knew, and again, as you say, and we say it all the time on the show, even though there's only been 2 shows, but you and I have said it a lot in the last 6 months, you know, being in the retirement capital of this country, to think that people can move down. And again, I want listeners all over the country. I hope people are listening where it's snowing, not necessarily in July, but people want to move to Florida. I don't know how many it is, but there's no doubt we're the retirement capital of the country. How many times am I going to repeat that? Okay, but for them to also add to great weather, boating, golf, the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic Ocean, Mickey Mouse, now add to that, instead of coming in and buying a beautiful home that someone else built to their needs, but actually coming to see a person like yourself coming down saying, I'm retiring in 6 months, I'm retiring in a year, I'm a retiring school teacher, my husband's a retiring police officer, fireman, whatever it may be. You take them to a custom builder, and suddenly it's their dream retirement home with the exact master bedroom, the backyard that they want. Maybe they want a small master bedroom and a gourmet kitchen. Maybe it's the opposite. Whatever they want, the builder's going to do. You talk about a dream retirement, and again, you talk about who knew at 62 you actually could do that, because I know my grandparents couldn't do that. They lived in the barracks in West Palm Beach, which I thought that's where all Jews go from New York. You just go right to West Palm Beach or Boca Raton, you go into one of those things.
You've been watching Seinfeld too.
Yes, and then I thought when you die, you just pull up a cement truck to the front and you just fill it up, and now it becomes your mausoleum. But now the houses that are considered senior communities, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely
amazing.
Gorgeous.
They really are truly amazing. And to your point, Michael, you know, everyone who's moving here, no matter what the circumstances are, you know, have their own ideas about what that dream home looks like. And it may be that 55 and over community, active community with lots of neighbors and activities and amenities and this beautiful landscaping, all of that. But there's also those who say, you know what, I want to get out of the neighborhood, Michael, and I want to be on a lot, maybe on some conservation with some water, and I want to build my house the way I want it. Like you mentioned, you know, I want to go to a custom builder and I want to tell them how big I want my living room to be, or my kitchen, and I want gas appliances, and I want this and I want that, right? So there's this amazing opportunity because, again, because of the healthy economy and the competition, now we have many, not just 1 or 2 custom builders, but many who are competing for this business. And it just creates this great recipe to the point where now we bring in the advances in technology, and I can actually be sharing with someone in New York who's considering moving to Florida. I can be sharing not only a piece of property, but an empty piece of property, and then create a rendering and even virtual tours through a home, virtual design. I mean, it can go to great heights
Right.
When it comes to being able to experience exactly what that would look like on this piece of property. And then, Michael, if we don't like that one, we just erase it
and
go
do
to another one, right? So there's all these opportunities, and even now, what we consider production builders, those builders with the big names that
Right.
just kind of build a lot of homes in big neighborhoods and things like that. Even those production builders, most of them now are what we call semi-custom.
Right.
Where now we can do some things that we can start with a basic floor plan, and then we can do some custom things that become very attractive for those potential buyers.
Something I learned from Lisa Kennedy on the first show, and I wasn't aware of this because as a mortgage person, and when I write a deal, Michael, I need a pre-approval letter. Michael, I need a pre-approval letter. There's multiple offers on every house that was so short on inventory.
Yes.
Several good friends of mine looking for houses in the last month that their mortgage is all pre-approved with me. They must have made 6 offers already by the time, and they're making full price offers and the house is gone. I learned from Lisa last month that these builders do have certain, I guess we still refer to them as spec homes that are maybe 3/4 built, and yet one of these clients can come in, pick out their tile, pick out their pool, pick out the color of their cabinets and their carpet, and still purchase a house in a reasonable amount of time. Because one of the other things we discussed with Lisa last week is, to me, it's kind of staggering that it takes a year, 18 months to build a house.
Sure.
And I know permitting is slow, but are you saying there are? I know Lisa said there is in her subdivision in Sarasota.
There are.
Is there a lot of builders doing that? Are there spec homes back?
Yes, there are plenty of options. The reason the spec homes are back, by the way, is because the builders understand that they're taking very little risk because they know there's demand there. So those houses are not only available, and there are lots of choices. If you are coming here and you're wanting to, find that home, maybe you're the type of person that just can't really envision it until it's complete. There are a lot of people like that, right? So you want a home that's already been built.
Right.
And then, which gets us into another little thing, but before I go there, if you're going to start from scratch and build it just the way you want it, then yes, there's a little bit of time involved, and it depends builder to builder and exactly what you're building, but I would say...
Custom, or using one of their models? Or,
most of the time it's going to be somewhere between 6 and 12 months is
But
typical.
if you want the moat on the outside with the alligators and stuff, that's going to take longer.
But the second point I was going to bring up is when we start looking at these, what we call spec homes or inventory homes that were built with the idea, hey, build it, they will come. Once that home is finished, that home begins to cost that builder money to sit there empty.
Yes.
So there are, and I'm not saying that you're going to go in and steal a home necessarily, but a lot of people say, well, if you're in a new home, the price is the price. There are some limitations, obviously, of negotiations, but there are some negotiations that are on the table that aren't advertised, things like that. And this is why it's very important to connect with a realtor when you're looking at a home with a builder. Most people know that they want to use a realtor when they're looking at pre-owned homes, but they may not necessarily think, oh, I don't need a builder because there's a new home sales rep there that's going to help me out. But you have to remember that they do represent the builder. They are the seller.
Right.
So you definitely want to be represented. And,
Absolutely.
And go ahead, and I'll...
No, that's right. There's about 20 seconds left of this segment, but something that you brought up, which is very interesting, which again is that house that's already built and sitting there. We both have car backgrounds.
Yes.
Sometimes people hold that against us, but we both have car backgrounds. And it's very similar that once that, when the longer that car sat there on the lot, the better the dealership was going to give them. I didn't know there was a parallel to houses to
yes,
that,
there is.
But that makes sense.
There definitely is.
All right, we're going to come back on our second segment and discuss a few more very, very interesting things. And let's cut it. Hi, my name is Mike Banner, and in addition to being the host of the 62 Who Knew television show, I am also the president of Professional Mortgage Alliance, where our passion is helping seniors entering retirement purchase their dream retirement home without the obligation of a monthly principal and interest payment. Please call me at 727-224-3859 or visit my website at professionalmortgagealliance.com.
My name is Ann Rogers, and I'm a real estate agent and broker in Pinellas County and have been for over 24 years. Ann Rogers Relocation Resources provides a full array of services to help you or your loved one transition gracefully to a new residence or adult living community. Our first consultation is free and with no obligation. Please visit our website or call to talk to me directly.
Hi, my name is Lisa Marie Kennedy, your real estate expert here in the Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I spent years developing myself, studying the industry so I can serve you and communicate with you the best way possible in your real estate transaction. My phone number is 941-807-2054, or please visit my website at lisamariekennedy.com.
Hey, we're back. It's funny what you talk about on the break kind of changes, not what we're going to talk about in the segment that we planned on, but you brought up such an interesting statistic, and let me make sure I'm quoting this right, and then I'm letting you take over from there. This segment was going to be about, you know, the advantages of the new house, the warranties, the cheaper insurance, but you brought up a statistic, make sure I'm saying this right, that when surveyed, 80% of the people that bought a new house did that because of the recent hurricanes, and the house is built to hurricane status.
Those who are coming from out of state into Florida, who were surveyed, said that they chose the new construction home over a resale because of the hurricane standards. Because think about it, Mike.
Really?
If I'm in New York, the first question I used to get when I was in the new home sales is, what about the hurricanes and what about the alligators? Right? That was the big thing, because if you know, I grew up here, and like hurricanes.
Yeah, you're one of like 10 people that I've met in 36 years from Florida. You really, it's amazing.
And I guess if you were in California, like I fear earthquakes. Like I don't want to go to California because I think I'm going to die in an earthquake, right? So people probably have that same perception about hurricanes when they're coming from out of state. So if you think about that, that statistic may make sense. Now, it shocked me also, but guess what I began to do more of? And that's talk about the hurricane standards.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing sells like fear. There's no way to get around. Okay, what you're selling.
Just the awareness of that was important to them. You know, hey, I'm going to talk about that and make sure that everybody's aware of that. But some other benefits, real quickly, of just new construction. Of course, we know that you're going to go into the home with a brand new warranty, right? We're not going to have those issues pop up. You know, there's nothing more demoralizing or challenging to purchase a home and then 6 months later the AC goes out or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So not only do you have the warranty, but also the insurance cost and the energy cost, Michael, are tremendous. Much more. There's a much bigger gap than you can imagine. You know, I had a home that I was renting just before I bought, and you know, my average electric bill was $200 to $300 every month. $300 in the summer, $200 every month, because I run my air all the time and all that. I built a new home. It's been about a year ago. And
it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. And it's just shy of 2,300 square feet. And I believe that my highest electric bill in the peak of the summer was $140. It's usually way under $100. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather make my payment towards more house than more electricity.
And again, when you're talking about a retired person, even a well-to-do retired person on a fixed income, to be able to take their electric bill, their utility bill, and cut it in half.
Oh, yeah.
And not to mention we've actually had a few mortgages in my company that amaze me because, you know, you meet someone, you guess at their insurance. And our guess is pretty good. I've been doing this a long time. And then you get it back and you actually, I've said to the client, are you sure you're covering the whole house? I mean, there's got to be a typo here. And they went, Mike, it's energy efficient. It's half what we thought. What an amazing thing.
Yeah, that was the other thing. You know, a lot of our brand new homes, when I was with the builder, we would get insurance quotes, and it was like $600-700 a year. And the pre-owned home down the street was $1,500 a year. So again, a big difference, right, in what you're paying for. So, so a couple of benefits. But
I just have this mental image of a new close for real estate agents now that you're giving me. You know, that they're going down the street. There's the new construction. There's the existing house, and the client goes, I can't really decide which one. And the professional real estate agent goes, well, that one's going to blow away in a really big wind. It's gone. Just change your dog's name to Toto. It's gone. That one's going to be there. So let's buy that one. I see a whole new close for real estate agents.
And there's legitimacy to it as well. So that's a good thing.
There's legitimacy to that.
There is.
Yeah, there is, really and truly. Tell more advantages before we get to, I know your website went up there, or at least your Facebook, but I want to talk a few minutes before we go out, but we still got plenty of time about Under Contract Live. You've built a massive audience in this year and a half.
Well, a year and a half, yes. You know, this show, Under Contract Live, is a show for realtors by realtors. Now, if you're a consumer, it's worth tuning in because you get the behind-the-scenes stuff, right? You get to see some of the inside conversations about what's going on in real estate with realtors. If you're a realtor, you really can't afford not to tune in. And I'll share why. It's not because of me. When I said it's a show for realtors by realtors, there are 3 hosts of the show. There's myself. There's your last week's guest, Dr. Lisa Marie Kennedy, an award-winning multi-million-dollar home sales in new home sales.
Author and mom,
just a complete rock star, which, by the way, is why I drafted her to be a host on the show, right? So she's with a different brokerage than myself. And then our third host
deserves kudos.
Is, oh my gosh, he was, you know, he was a Wall Street Journal top 50 broker. He was #1 in the state of Florida in closed transactions. He sold all of his brokerages, went on tour basically to share how to, you know, do those things as a broker. Came back to Tampa, opened a new agency, now is probably the fastest growing broker in Florida. And these are the show hosts, 3 different brokerages.
You didn't mention his name. Mention his name.
Johnny Lowy, of course. Johnny Lowy, amazing, dynamic guy. So the point, though, is that we get into conversations that you're not going to hear at seminars. You're probably not going to hear from your broker. You're not going to hear from a builder. We talk about the things that real estate agents are talking about when they're at the bar.
Yeah, I think consumers, I know that's not your thing, but I'm glad you said consumers should listen in. Consumers should watch your show. Hearing the inside talk, hearing what you've done, hearing what Dr. Kennedy does. Of course, I've become a ridiculous fan of Mr. Johnny Lowy. If you have an opportunity to hear him speak or hear about his great agency.
Always hire people that are better than you. That's my motto.
That's why I have you here. That's why I have all my guests. All 4 of my guests are smarter than I've been. But yeah, if you have an opportunity to the consumers that are watching out there to go to Under Contract Live, it's Wednesday at 3 p.m. Is that correct?
Every Wednesday at 3 p.m. we go live. It's on Facebook right now. We're about to move to other platforms. But you can find it on Facebook, Under Contract Live. Simple as that. Like the page, you'll see the show.
All right. Consumers should watch it, find out the back things about it, take away from the incredible education that you'll take from it. I got to do a shameless plug. I'm sorry.
No.
If you're a real estate agent anywhere in the country, Google Johnny Lowy. Have a conversation with this man. As a public speaker myself that travels the country talking about reverse mortgages, first time I heard this man speak, I just went, wow, and have been wowed by him since you introduced me. And he has come up with a staggering, I use that word too much, I know. Some people critiqued me last week, said I said it too many times, but I'm saying it. If you're a realtor anywhere, Google Johnny Lowy and give him a call. That's my shameless plug for the day.
Okay.
Continue on with what you're saying because
the other thing I wanted to
we got 2 minutes, so we'll end at about 1:30.
Okay, I'll end it with this. You know, because this show really is a consumer show. Even though we've had a lot of things surrounding real estate and realtors. The first couple shows, I know that the dynamics of this show, it's going to get so much broader with different subjects. So I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to share. You know, if you're looking or considering new construction, which is something I'm a big fan of course, we talked about some of the reasons why. I'm going to encourage you to connect with a real estate agent. Doesn't have to be me, but I'm going to encourage you to do that because, again, it goes back to that new home sales consultant can be a wonderful, amazing person, great person. In fact, they're going to love you. You're going to have a great relationship with them because you're going to go through that build process with them, and most of them are great professionals, many of them my close friends. So that being said,
you have friends?
They do work for the builder. They are the seller. You are the buyer. You do want to be represented. Builders do budget for realtor commissions. In other words, the builder is paying the realtor commission, so the realtor is really free to you as the buyer, but they're looking out for you. Now, the reason the builder would do that is because they know that realtors work with buyers. And they want realtors to bring them buyers. So they actually court us. They reach out to us and say, hey, bring us some buyers, right? So the point is that, and I also tell consumers this sometimes, Michael, if some of them have a misconception they can get a better deal without the realtor. That's just not the case.
No, it isn't.
There's pricing integrity. But the biggest thing that I say is if I'm going
to cut you in 5.
Cut me off.
I'm cutting you in 5 seconds.
Cut me off.
We have 15 seconds left. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
For being here.
Of course.
15 seconds left. I have to get better at this timing. In the next couple of weeks, we are going to have a certified financial planner. We're going to have one of the most popular elder law attorneys in the country. We're going to have 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Join us next Monday.